process of increasing in size. A feature that is both individual, intrinsic, and throughout nature.
This is going to be so interesting, you know.
This is the moment we have been waiting for.
I'm feeling it now.
What has come before is now consigned to the history books. This new decade brings new challenges, new rivals, falling giants, and new beginnings.
Bang, bang, bang! 3 shots to the heart.
Oh, in the back end. Oh no!
Those who are climbing will meet. Who will fall by the wayside, and who will embody growth.
There's still wheel to wheel!
That is unbelievable!
League of Europe, grow or fade.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the League of Europe. We are here, of course, for Division 3, Round 7 of the Australian Grand Prix, as you can see on your guys' screen. Of course, my name is Jay Cole, taking you guys through this, as always, along with Killer Blue. Before we do get into the qualifying as well, what we have thought of doing is just taking a quick minute's silence, because if anyone has or hasn't seen, unfortunately, Murray Walker has unfortunately passed away. Literally was announced, I think, about half an hour ago, 40 minutes ago now. So we thought we'd just do a minute's silence, just of course in honour of Murray. Make sure you guys also stick around to the stream at the end, as we will play a little bit of a tribute for him at the end as well. But for now, we're just going to be having a 1 minute silence, so we'll be back with you guys in just a minute. There we go. So, as I said, of course, at the end of the stream, we will be playing as I said, just a little tribute to Murray Walker, of course, at the end of there as well. So, as I said, make sure you guys tune in at the end of the stream. For now, of course, I know a lot of you have come here to watch Division 3, and that is what we will get into. Of course, Jake, as I said, it's now round 7. We've already been through the first 6 rounds out of 16. We're almost halfway there. Not living on a prayer, though. What do you make of the season so far?
As you say, we're nearly halfway through and we are yet to see a real clear title picture emerge. I'd say we've still got 6 drivers who are very much in this title fight. We've got Rudy, Old School, Miami, Brie, Carmentlist, Raleigh, who of course won all the way back in Austria, split by 18 points. And I know Tin Can, just behind him as well, is quite bullish about his chances here, and he feels he's picking up ahead of steam. So 7 races, and we've had a fair few different winners, and yet they say no clear picture emerging so far. We've got that lead group, but I'm very interested to see if some of the drivers who are now hitting a stride. With Rudy has been in great form lately, Old School as well, especially just missed out in China. Miami, who did win in China and was a very strong 4th as well in Monaco. I wonder if these guys who are now the top 3 are going to start to make a break for it, because we've still got such a dense title battle.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I mean, we've had 6 different race runners in 6 races so far. Tonight we could see a 7th. It could all sort of depend on how people, of course, get on tonight. At the moment, Brie is the one that is currently sitting on top, and he already was a race winner. I feel like the top 6 or the 6 that we have seen that were race winners already, at least 5 of them, I think, are still in this title fight. I think the 6th one was RJ. I believe he is here tonight. Yeah, he is here, just sitting in 8th place at the moment. in all honesty, I know he's also quite notorious around Australia from previous seasons with RJ. He can be relatively good around Australia, so I'm keen to maybe keep a little bit of a sharp eye on him tonight. But of course, I know from your killer instincts and Jav's judgments, both of you have gone for Car Mentalist down in 15th position. So, well, who hasn't actually set a lap as of yet. Yeah, I'm intrigued to see how he's going to do, because as I said, for me personally, I picked him as probably the title favourite for this season. And at the moment, he's currently sitting 5th in the standings, 17 points behind Rudy. Yeah, I don't know, I'm just intrigued to see how this is all going to pan out. I think at the moment, it's all been very close. There's a couple of guys we still yet to see win a race, like the guys of Caesar, like Peter, like Tin Can, who are all capable of winning a race. And Rudy, who's even our championship leader, hasn't won a race yet. So he's still, he could be the 7th race winner tonight. I suppose you just got to wait and see.
I think the fact that our championship leader hasn't won a race yet speaks to the madness that we've seen this season.
Yeah.
And you mentioned how I tip Car Mentalist. I do fancy him, even if he's not got a valid lap in yet. He ran extremely strongly at Monaco, of course, winning that race. And I said in Killer Instincts, I think he outperformed himself at China. He went on the hards, he went long till the rain came and switched on to inters, and he led a decent portion of that race. And in the end, did very well to come home 5th, because it was clear watching. Didn't necessarily have the pace of some of those around him, but he pulled a result out of it. And I think this is a track that's going to favour him a lot more as he's starting his flying lap here. And we've got a couple of retirees already. Luke, Peter, who looks like he's binned it out turn 12, K-Mark as well. So halfway through the session, we've lost 3 drivers.
Yeah, I was just actually riding on board with K-Mark as he was on a lap, and well, I saw him veering into that wall and I knew it was over for him. So unfortunate for K-Mark, not even put a lap on the board, and neither has Luke. Peter, of course, putting it into P4 at the moment. Again, is another one that I'm saying we're still surprised that we haven't seen him win a race yet. Especially since coming into Division 3 last season, he was almost instantly up there. And now this season, I know it's probably a little bit more competitive than what it was from last season, but at the same time, I feel like it's a bit more balanced out instead of there just being about 3 or 4 front runners. So that's why I'm kind of intrigued to see how he's going to also fare on. And same with Caesar, both of those guys. I am really shocked we have not seen them win a race yet. Who knows? Tonight might be the night, or it might be the night for Rudy, or we might have a second race winner tonight, as well as Old School has gone onto pole position so far with a 19.317, just a 10th and a half over Bree, who is currently on an outlap. Car Mentalist, though, your pick for Killer Instincts is coming around the final corner and up towards the line. What is the Brit in the Red Bull going to do? He pips it into P2, 0.02 of a second up ahead of Mr. XL Bree, and yeah, just slots it straight into P2. So good job from Car Mentalist to put himself up on that front row of the grid so far.
Thank you, Car Mentalist, for not embarrassing my predictions so far. You called YHYY last week. That was inspired for, well, at least for the first 2 laps. So what have we got here? We've got a bigger spread than I was expecting. We've got a nice little clutch of drivers from Miami down to Raleigh or RJDW, who are split by a couple of tenths. But up the front, we've kind of got a couple of groups here. We've got Mark all by his lonesome, and then we've got Car Mentalist and Bree, Rudy, Peter, who's obviously out of it, Damon, E-Duck. It's kind of splintered into a few little factions here. Have you spotted something just hearing you go, ooh? Yeah,
it was just Raleigh invalidating on his lap time. I think he was about 2 tenths up on his time, which would have put him around where Miami, even E-Duck, was in P8 or P7. Obviously, I know we're going to see quite a few more improvements coming throughout the lap as RJ was just on board with him. He's slowed down. I'm not too sure what's gone on with him there. But yeah, as I said, just unfortunate with what's sort of gone on for a couple of these drivers so far this season. Of course, as I said, 6 rounds down. We're now in the 7th round, almost halfway there. It's just a case of if they're going to be able to step up in the second half of the season coming up, or even tonight, and just see who could possibly come out on top. Of course, I'm running on board at the moment with the Indian man in the Renault. Again, one that's been a little bit of a disappointment so far this season. I think actually only ended up picking up his first podium last week so far of the season, and he's into the wall.
Oh dear, they're dropping like flies in this qualifying session, aren't they? Lucky to still be in the session with a chance to set another lap.
Certainly is. Trench, I've also just noticed, has gone up into P8 with a 19.8. Miami is just coming around the penultimate corner to finish off his lap. Let's have a look at what he's doing. Nice pink helmet representing his pink car. Making his way around the final corner now is Miami and up towards the line. It's looking like it could be a mid-19s. Certainly is just up ahead of the retiree of Peter in P6. He now jumps up into P5, does Miami. So, yeah, not too bad of a lap from him. I know he can go a bit quicker than that, so... I would say that it's not going to be his final lap, unless of course he invalidates on his final lap, but yeah, I'm expecting Miami to go a little bit quicker than that. Rudy as well, I think has just come through the first sector and has gone half a tenth up on his time, so we're just keeping an eye on him and seeing if he does also end up improving. Rudy again is another one that's been a current championship leader without a race win, which is, as you said, it's just absolutely mind-blowing. So we'll wait and see what he does. He's
Big
now
second
2
sector,
temps.
though.
Yeah, 2 temps up on his time. So let's have a look. Rudy making his way now towards the end of, well, he's coming up at the beginning of sector 3 now. Quick 90-degree right-hander. Again, very easy to lose it around turn 14. So I'm expecting a few guys to possibly be losing that there tonight. Making his way up around the penultimate corner now. Shifting down into second. Quick shift up to third. Into fourth and up into fifth once again. Around the final corner again. Another one that can be easily spun around there. But Rudy up towards the line. Is he on pole? He is a 19.248 for our current championship leader in Division 3. And he will be able to get around and get straight back out afterwards. But at the moment, he is currently on pole position. However, there is one person that is also on a lap at the moment, and that is Chill in the Haas. Again, one that we haven't really seen too much of this season. Of course, being Old School's teammate as well. Those guys trying to work together as much as they possibly can. Chill, I think, is just he's not exactly had the greatest start of the season. Hopefully, this will be a bit of a bounce back for him. But let's have a look. He's making his way around the final corner now. Is the Brit in the Haas. And coming up towards the line, this looks like it could be a high 19. It is, and it is P10 for Chill. Only 2 thousandths shy of Vapor Trench, but a 19.887 is what Chill has put on the board. And the other Haas of Old School, a bit of a rivalry brewing up between himself and Rudy. He's now on his, what I believe will be his final lap.
I have to admit, I'm a little bit disappointed with the time so far. I thought we were going to see an 18 at some point in the session. We still might, but so far we're a quarter of a second away from that mark. But we'll see if the other mark of Mark, Old School 3000, can go any quicker. And he's 2 tenths up, a 26.10 for Sector 1. That is more like it from the Brit. And the man who's very unlucky not to win at China. He got caught up in that traffic behind those hard starts. Remember Jarry and Mia, who was caught behind them. Lost the win in the process. He's now getting a little bit of slipstream from his teammate down towards turn 11. Trickiest corners on the track, but he's up again. He flicks in 6th gear. Could have done that in 7th, but he runs very wide. Big crash.
And that's him out.
Big crash.
Oh.
He had pole position in the palm of his hand, but he rolled the dice, went for broke, and he got broke, quite literally. So Old School joins the growing list of retirees.
And I imagine we're probably going to see quite a few of those tonight at that corner. So I'm intrigued to see how many, to start off with, will be going around that corner and how many will actually survive going through the elusive turns 12 and turn 13. But Sofian is going to be our first one to complete a lap. He is currently making his way through turn 4 and turn 5 now. Coming up towards, going through turn 6 again. Don't want to run too wide there, otherwise it is just absolute curtains for you. Up towards the end of the first sector, he is currently down on his time by 700ths of a second, but it's usually these two sectors of where you can make up a humongous amounts of time. So let's have a look and see if Sofian, the Frenchman in the AlphaTauri, kind of like Pierre Gasly, if he is going to end up improving on his lap time. Still riding on board with him at the moment as he makes his way up towards turns 12 and turns 13. Yep, he is gone now 700ths up on his time, so has improved that by about, if my maths is not mistaken, about 1400ths or 1/10 of a second improvement through sector 2. And now making his way up towards the end of sector 3, coming around now the penultimate corner is the Frenchman. Let's have a look and see if he gets a nice clean exit. There are more yellows of course going out for people just getting out of the way, but Sofian going to be the next one to complete a lap, and up towards the line goes Sofian in the AlphaTauri. Is he going to put himself into the top 10? No, he does not. He doesn't even put himself into the 19s, unfortunately for him. He does a 20.070, 2 thousandths shy of Raleigh, who was leading the championship earlier on in the championship.
Great lap though for Tim Matz down in 12th place. He was 0.18 up coming through the Sector 2 split. He might even snatch a tiny slipstream off Kamke. I don't think he will, but let's see where he goes. And he lost over a tenth in the last sector, only 9th for Tim Matz.
So that's a bit of I'm assuming a few drivers around here, if they play their cards right, they could get themselves sort of around the poor man's pole position to P11 for the medium to soft strategy, which is usually probably the optimal strategy to do around here. Of course, if you start inside the top 10, you can quite easily do a soft or hard, but the medium to soft is really the strategy you want to go for. Bree puts it on pole so far. Damon improves on his time as well, but Bree a 2.06 to his name. A few other guys are making their way across the line now. Barton in P12 with a 19.927. One of the other racing points, that is Miami, very, very close to the back of Rudy, but Caesar 1,000th of a second. Oh my goodness.
Look at that, we've got 63 thousandths covering our top four as the checkered flag is out. What about Tin Can? He's not set a good lap yet, and he comes across the line. 19.5, can't complain with that. A very solid lap considering he had nothing to fall back onto. He couldn't take too many risks with that lap. We'll see. Kamke is now about to come across the line. Hasn't set a representative lap yet. He's on a 20.8. And he does a 20.5. Minimal improvement from the D5 champion. It keeps him in 18th place. And continuing the pattern of qualifying in the back two rows as he has done for the last few races.
Yeah, very unfortunate, of course, for Kamke in that respect. Raleigh's just come across the line to put himself into P7. Rudy, 19.043. That is going to be a tricky one to beat. Trench goes up into P12 with a 19.863. And a few other guys, I think, are just waiting to now make their way across the line and get their laps on the board. Chill is going to be one of them, and he looks like he's caught up in a massive amount of traffic as a few guys are just sort of retiring, getting out of the way as much as they can. Damon, oh, so close. Tim Matz pulled off to the side there. Hopefully Chill has not been in, well, I can't remember the word for it, but has not been sort of blocked by Damon in that respect. But Chill up towards the line. He goes into P7, a 19.529. I don't know if he did end up getting a bit startled from Damon there, but hopefully for his sake he didn't.
I mean, he's still putting a cracking lap, but I think if Chill decides to report that, there could be a hefty penalty coming Damon's way. That was some of the most extreme blocking I don't know if it wasn't deliberately, I assume, but some of the most extreme kind of blocking that I've seen in qualifying. It came right across the racing line at turn 13, or turn 14, sorry. That's that's dangerous. That could easily have been an airplane crash between those two. Luckily, Chill wasn't too affected, but you have to wonder, he could have found an extra tenth there, or maybe gained a position perhaps, but hopefully it's not been too damaging to his chances.
Hopefully not, and of course that is now qualifying done for round 7. Rudy is the one that pips it on pole. Bree, of course, in second position as well, rounding out that front end of the grid. 1,000th of a second up ahead of Caesar in P3. Miami, of course, rounding out the second row of that grid in P4. Mark, or Old School, in 5th. Carl Mentelis in 6th. Going to be a good battle between those two going on towards turn 1. Chill in 7th with Raleigh in 8th. Tin Can in 9th and Damon in 10th. Peter, despite having a bit of a crash at the beginning of the session, has ended up taking the poor man's pole position in P11. Eduk in 12th with Trench in 13th. Tim Matz 14th. Barton in 15th. Sophie in 16th. RJ in 17th. Kamke in 18th. And then K-Mark and Luke both did not manage to get a time on the board and are at the back end of the grid. So very unfortunate for the both of them, and yeah, I mean, they are going to want to try and make their way up through the grid. I suppose we'll wait and see how they do fare on, because it's not easy to get through this grid, let me tell you, as very grey clouds looming over Albert Park.
I've heard a lot of drivers complain this week about how difficult this track is to A, follow on, and B, overtake on. Even with DRS, it's very tricky to find a way through. I'm interested to see what we're going to see on the strats. I think you can make a reasonable case to start on any of the tyres outside the top 10. Hard soft and medium soft both have their perks, I suppose you could say. The mediums obviously needing much better tyre wear, but we saw in Division 1 last season, I know because I was in it, that if done properly, medium soft can be tremendously OP.
Yeah, so we'll wait and see if that is going to be the case. Of course, for tonight, the guys that are outside of the top 10 may opt to go for those medium tyres. I suppose we shall await and see, as of course now just getting underway for the formation lap. Let's take a look at those tyres then, shall we? So Peter and RJ are the only two on a set of the hard tyres. Cam K in 18th has gone for a set of softs, and then everybody else outside of the top 10 are on a set of the mediums. So Cam K, I'm really surprised he's gone for a set of softs. I don't know if he meant to do that, but going for a set of softs, especially that low down in the grid, I don't know about that, you know.
He may be hoping that having had a poor qualifying with those softs, he can make big gains on the first couple of laps.
Maybe.
While they have the largest advantage over the softs, over the mediums and the hards. That's the main reason I can think of for going on to softs. If you're really out of position, you can play it to good effect to clear some of that traffic. But yeah, I'm not surprised with the amount of people we've seen going on mediums, but I am interested how many of those go medium soft and how many go medium hard. Medium soft has bigger risk, but it also has bigger reward, and obviously with D3 being D3, there's safety cars that are going to play into that, I'm sure, no doubt. We've had two very clean races at Monaco and China, so we're due for another crazy one.
Yeah, there's definitely many risks just in D3 alone, let alone trying to do that also with the tyre strategy. So the guys that are on the softs, they might be a little bit blessed to come towards the end of maybe even just in lap 1 where a safety car could come out. I know turn 1 around here is very tight, especially leading straight in towards turn 2. And yeah, with there only being sort of a bit of a short run up towards turn 2, towards turn 1, usually it does tend to have a few lick the stamps and senders into that turn 1, so I'm intrigued to see if that is going to be the case for tonight, as we're just waiting for the rest of the grid to make their way up towards their grid spots, as the front runners are now just lining up, or are lined up, shall I say, to the grid, and we shall wait, and we shall get this one straight underway very, very shortly. I know you said from your killer instincts you reckon Car Mentalist. Do you still back that?
I do. I'm going to stick by my gut.
Okay. So let's have a look. We got the 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's go, go, go. All of the lights have gone out. And it looks like Rudy has had the best start out of the lot of them. Caesar, though, I say that. He's now already lined up in towards turn 1 and already taken that lead of the race. Caesar into the lead of the race. Rudy in second. Bree in third, sorry. I think Miami's dropped back quite significantly. I don't know where he's gone. I think he's now sort of in that little mid-pack as Rudy trying to go right around the outside. In towards turn 3, a little bit of contact between him and Caesar. Rudy just trying to hold that around there, but did not work out for him. Now down into second position, as I said. Bree keeping that third place. Mark dropping down into fourth, as Barton has already retired from the session at the end of end of turn 4.
We have some madness going on down there, and a big slide for Damon coming out of turn 7. He just kept hold of it, but he's lost out to Educ and Raleigh. I should say we saw Peter, Tin Can, and I think Raleigh it was possibly going 3 wide through turn 3. Crucial for Peter. He's starting on those hards, and he's gained off the line. He's gained 2 places on the slowest tyre. Peter is in a great position here, but cracking start for Caesar up front.
Yeah, very good start for him. And in fact, sorry, I actually mixed up Miami and Bree. There's a bit of a timing glitch on my side. So it's actually Miami that's the one that's in third position still. And Chill's in fourth. So Chill's made his way up from 7th to 4th on the grid. Mark, I don't know what's happened to him. And I don't know what's happened to Bree. But they've dropped back now behind Car Mentalist. So they're going to need a little bit of catching up to do if they want to at least still have a chance of battling Rudy for this championship. Miami doing as much as he can. Still, it says 1.5 seconds behind him. But I can tell you now that is definitely not the gap, as the timings are now starting to fix themselves. 3:10. tenths of a second behind is Miami from Rudy. And of course, after that first lap, already Caesar pulling out a bit of a gap to Rudy. And, well, I suppose Caesar, as I said, we're waiting for our 7th race winner. He could possibly be our 7th race winner as Car Mentalist. I think was just tying up a bit of a move on Chill, going down it towards turn 3, but Chill covering that one off, keeping that P4. And I think there might be a couple other stuff that's going on down in the grid, as Damon looking like he might be eyeing up a move on E-Duck going through turn 6, but not a place you want to try and go for an overtaking manoeuvre, especially through one of the faster corners on the track. I can tell you now, it's definitely not, if you're doing that, then you've definitely got a set of cojones on you for that.
Yeah, he was very wobbly through sector 1. Damon snuffed a chance, but then had a big squirm out of turn 10, and he cuts across. Cam K was looking to side up the inside. Nothing to do with him. I hope the Renault's not got wing damage from that, but I mentioned why was Cam K going on softs, and I thought it might be to make gains on lap 1. He has gained 5 places as Damon's swerving to try and scare E-Duck, and he has. E-Duck goes very deep into turn 14. And Cam K gets through as well. The Williams driver dropping 2 positions, and Cam K is now up 6 places from that starting position.
Yeah, so not a very good start for E-Duck, of course, now down in 13th position. He is the highest medium runner, however, so that's something at least for him. Caesar, of course, still leading the race at the moment. Rudy still keeping that 2nd position, and Miami all over the back of Rudy, starting to lose touch with Chill. In fact, Chill 8 tenths of a second now behind Miami. The only good thing is for him is that DRS is not actually around at the moment, so he needs to try and keep to the back of these lot, because look how much time he is losing in comparison to those top 3. Those top 3 have absolutely run away, and Chill could be a bit of the cork in a bottle for the guys that are all behind him, especially the likes of Car Mentalist, Bree and Old School. Peter, as you were saying, or as you were mentioning about him as well, 4 tenths of a second now behind Tin Can, as Tin Can has lost DRS to Bree, so we could be seeing a move going on for P8, and even on the hard tyres, that is absolutely impressive from Peter. So again, he's another one that we can potentially see take a race win tonight, as Bree and Old School, here we go, the old 2 teammates. Bree trying to go down the inside of Old School, going side by side through turn 12, and Bree goes out on top. Chill losing that place to Car Mentalist on DRS, so there you go, Car Mentalist, DRS getting that move done. So now I'm in a 4th position, as Tin Can's also gotten past Old School. I don't know what's going on with that, but a little bit of contact between the pair of them. Tin Can getting shoved off by Old School, and Peter's now through.
Oh, Tin Can's holding out the inside. If Peter can get this move done, he is in a prime position to get a podium here. If he can start clearing these soft runners on just lap 3, as it is for him. And now Raleigh has got a great run on Tin Can. The DRS neutralises it, and Peter takes that position. Mark was lucky, perhaps lucky if rude to Tin Can, gave him a nice elbow budge out of turn 14, but I don't think they'd anything be doing there as it should. No. As Tin Can goes very deep, and here comes Raleigh through turn 4. This is letting Peter and Mark scamper away. The Williams drivers really struggling. He had a scruffy qualifying, and there's a big moment.
Yeah,
for Tin Can.
That's him into the wall. That's part of his front wing gone. So Tin Can now down in 15th position, and it's only just going to continue to drop. He's got Trench, Luke, and K-Mark and RJ all behind him. As you're going a bit. Ooh.
Damon had a big look on Raleigh JT, and then trying to stay with him.
Ooh.
Had a huge tank slapper out of turn 10, and what's happened there is Tin Can round again.
No, well, that is Tin Can and Trench. I think Tin Can just sort of took Trench with him. I don't know if it was the case that Trench didn't leave enough space or what, but yeah, Tin Can at the exit of turn 10, unfortunately, has just sort of, he's managed to mangle up with Trench, and Trench has gone round, so very unfortunate, not a very good start for the both of them, as Trench, in fact, out at turn 13, so the first victim of it.
Car. And it's a VSC, is anyone going to dive in? Sofian cuts across the pit entry. That's naughty, but he might get away with it if no one reports him. I'm not going to. But Sofian dives in. He's starting on mediums, but he's going hard, and he's going to the end, and he's going to have clear track in front of him, and this will play nicely into Tin Can's hands as well.
Yeah, so it's very good for the both of them. I think maybe a little bit of a blessing in disguise for Tin Can, but for Sofian as well, of course, he's going to try and go on the hards, as you said, to the end of the race. It's very tricky, but it is doable. So we'll wait and see, of course, if that is going to be the case. DRS is now back enabled, as Sofian has just come out of the pits. So perfect timing for the Frenchman in the AlphaTauri. As he said, though, a little bit of a corner cut in towards the pit lane, as Damon now a second 3-second time penalty for him already on the board. So 6 seconds in 5 laps. I mean, I think I just accused him up for a bit of a disqualification at the end of the race, but hopefully we don't see that for him. But yeah, Damon maybe just need to stop cutting the track a little bit too much.
That's not. That does not bode well for his race if he's on 2 penalties after 5 laps. Peter, I want to give him another shout out because he's staying with Mark here, and Mark is probably one of the quickest drivers in this field on raw pace, and Peter is keeping him nicely at arm's length here within 7-8 tenths of a second. And in DRS, I'd expect those hards to really struggle once the field settled down at the front, but it's not happening. Peter's very much in this fight.
He definitely is. We cannot rule or hit the Dutchman out at all. But looking at this battle now, it's for the final points position. Eduk just losing a bit of a touch to Cam K, and Damon up in front as Damon another 3-second time penalty. So got 3 warnings just in that lap alone. 4 warnings, in fact, in that lap alone. So Damon, I don't know what you're doing, but at this point, yeah, disqualification's coming before even halfway through the race. I know he's tussling at the moment with Cam K though.
He gave Cam K a solid bump there into turn 4. Cam K will grumble and complain, but nothing doing there. But Damon goes very deep, completely locked up into turn 7, and now Eduk and Timmats are squeezing the way through. We could be 3 abreast here into turn 9. Damon looking on the right, Eduk on the left, and Timmats is just keeping watching. But he's big squirm for Cam K, half spins into Damon. Timmats glides through, and Cam K has lost. Well, he thought he'd get about getting in 1 place. He's just lost 2, and Damon is now 4 seconds behind Raleigh. And it feels every week we end up getting 2 races split somewhere along the middle. This week it's Damon's job to lead race 2, and the amount I've been on board with him a lot and behind him, the amount of squirming I am seeing through the corners, and he just says, F that, I'm not doing anymore, and drives straight into the gravel. That looked laziness more than it was a mistake, and he's coming into the pits, and I think he's going to retire because clearly he doesn't see himself having a place in this race, or maybe he is changing tyres. We'll see.
I think it was just he was getting a bit too much squirm going on those tyres, so I think he's changing tyres. He's going straight on the hards, and he's going to try and take those to the end. Of course, if that's what his softs were, though, at the end of lap 6, and especially having a bit of a squirm, even throughout, even from the beginning of lap 1, it's a bit. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like Damon at the moment is just struggling on tyres massively. He is still ahead of Tinkan coming out of that, but look at the gap between him and Sofian. If Damon was only 4 seconds behind Raleigh, within this gap, in this little train.
Sorry, just going to interrupt you. Bree and Chill into turn 11. Bree was looking like to do a repeat if he did on Mark. Chill! Big moment. Is that a safety car? Is that our retirement?
No, he hasn't retired. He has completely lost his wing, but it is a safety car.
And I was just about to say, the other race point was looking very handy as well. I think Miami was just about sizing up an overtake on Rudy for P2. Obviously, safety cars killed that. Everyone is going to come in now. I'll tell you this will disadvantage though. Bree is going to have to queue, or he's going to have to go round and compromise his race. Either way, I think he's going to lose a couple of positions here. Mark will be licking his lips.
Certainly will. He certainly will. So, the only one that's unfortunate for what's happened is Peter. He started on these hards. He's now going to be at a bit of a disadvantage. I'm assuming he's going to go on a set of mediums to try and take those to the end of the race. It's a difficult and tall order, but I suppose that's what you've got to go and do. A couple of guys have actually gone on mediums. Mentalist and Old School have both gone on a set of the mediums. Everybody else has gone on a set of the hards. So, I don't know. This is going to be very, very tricky. And there's Sofian. He's come out ahead of his teammate.
Oh, I can tell you, I did a race in another league, won't name it, promoting LOE only, but at Australia I did soft medium, and I pitted lap 10, and I ended on 85% on those mediums. You can it fine, is all I'll say for Car Mentalist and Old School. Old School, especially on a pad, is going to have even more trouble with tyre wear. I'm surprised Tim Mats has stayed out though.
Yeah, very shocking that Tim Mats has decided to stay out on those medium tyres. RJ as well on the hards has also stayed out, so he might be trying to play a bit of a long game. Of course, starting on those hard tyres as well as Peter. Interesting enough as well, Sofian, when he came in, or when he was coming around the first corner, let Peter and Relay go. So I'm assuming the game was telling him to let him go when they were only just coming out of the pits, which is a bit unfair for Sofian. But regardless, he's still in 9th position, still in a very good position. The ones I'm intrigued for, though, towards the end of this race is going to be Carmentalist and Peter. Just how they're going to manage that those medium tyres. It's going to be tight for them.
They're going to be rapid at the start, though. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple of moves done early doors. I mean, Rudy and Miami don't want to give away points, but equally they don't want to fight over something too hard and risk a DNF if Carmentalist and Peter are coming through on a charge. So I'll be intrigued to see how they deal with that. Rudy especially, because he's got it to where he's in the championship right now by just finishing races and being there or thereabouts. Not winning, as we've said a few times, but getting solid results. And you get solid results by picking and choosing your battles. And I wonder how hard he's going to fight to keep these medium runners behind him.
I'll tell you what's a bit interesting as well is Miami's actually jumped Rudy in the pit lane. So Miami's now up ahead in what is a net 2nd position, and Rudy's in a net 3rd. So I don't know what of course happened there, whether Rudy's just got held up from a couple other guys making their way into the pits or what. But yeah, at the moment, Tim Mats is going to be our leader under the safety car. Caesar has a car's gap at least, or at least 1 car between himself and Miami, so it can allow him to just get away a bit more once the safety car has gone. Tim Mats and RJ, both in the Alfa Romeos, I'm really surprised that they didn't make their pit stops. I think they're banking on a 2nd safety car coming out. They've got to be at this point, especially for Tim Mats, considering that it would have probably been best for him to make the pit stop under the safety car, as Damon has gone on a set of medium tyres as well.
I think Yaz doesn't have anything to lose down there, does he? In P18, he may as well go for broke. As you say, I'm very surprised that Tim Mats stayed out unless he just fancied his chance at leading a race. RJ, like Peter, was a little more compromised starting on the hards. There's not really an ideal move to make there. Had it been a lap or two earlier, there would have been no choice but to stay out. So yeah, it was kind of between a rock and a hard place for those 2 hard runners. Obviously, one is stuck and one's twisted. We'll see how that pays off. But
yeah.
Safety car in this lap.
No, I'm intrigued to see how it's going to fare on with these guys. As I said, especially the guys that are on the mediums that did make that pit stop. Carmentalist, Peter, and Old School, and Damon now, of course, as well as you said, going for broke. So we'll wait and see how that's going to go. Let's have a look though. Tim Mats is going to be taking us through this restart, and I'm intrigued to see when he's going to go. It'll probably be before even, I'd say, the 2nd to last corner, I reckon, is when the Alfa Romeo is going to go. Just looking at how much he's slowing up the grid, so we'll keep our eye out on the Dutchman to see when he is going to go. Him and Caesar just sort of pushing a little bit at the moment. RJ, by the way, is sort of holding back from those top 2. Interesting enough, which is holding up the rest of the guys behind him. So it's allowing Caesar to get a bit of clear air. And there you go. As I said, before the 2nd to last corner, Tim Mats has gone already. Caesar has kept up with him. However, a bit of a slide through the final corner. Did have a little bit of a mistake. But RJ is the one that's had that big mistake and is already around. Miami now gets promoted into P3. But look at that gap. 2 seconds. I told you it's where he was gonna lose a lot of time. Miami 2 seconds behind Caesar now. And he's got Rudy all over the back of him.
Huge run for Carmentalist out of turn 2. He's got a tremendous slipstream on Rudy. Rudy has no choice but to commit to the left. Is Carmentalist going to send it down the outside? He does. He goes very deep. Peter looks interested, but just a bit too far back, as Crofty says on that occasion. But yeah, that's left Miami and Rudy exposed a little bit. That spin for RJ to the guys behind, who Carmentalist is caught straight back up to them.
Yeah, not only that, but as I said, it's because of RJ slowing up those groups behind him. It's allowed Tim Mats to go away. It's allowed Caesar to just absolutely pull off as well. But looking at it, it doesn't look like Tim Mats' tyres are sort of really that bad at the moment. I think he is trying that reverse strategy. I think he's going to go on a set of the softs towards the end of the race. I wouldn't technically say it's over for Tim Mats.
He'll have a lot of overtaking to do, though, because right now he is a net 17th. He's just got RJ behind him, so he needs to go big or go home in this case, and that a little mistake like that, a little deep into the penultimate corner, he needs to maximise every lap. Has to be a qualifying lap for Tim Matz, or he's going to find himself outside the points, even if he ends up leading the next 10 laps of this race.
Yeah, it's a tall order for Tim Matz, of course, to do that, but we shall wait and see if he ends up doing that. This battle, though, for P3 is still going on. Car Mentalist, once again, getting that run out of turn 2. Rooney, though, he's just a little bit too far up ahead for the Red Bull, so Car Mentalist, the best he's going to have to stay at the moment is in P5 or 8 net 4th position. Peter just sort of hanging back a little bit at the moment, just preserving his ERS and making sure that he has enough to at least have a bit of an attack, and, well, at the moment it's working for him. Raleigh just in a bit of a no man's land at the moment. He's a second behind Peter and is about a second up ahead of Sofian. So again, it's now split this race. Like you said, even after the safety car restart, the race has been completely split once again. It's now Raleigh that's leading this slot from 7th downwards, especially with Mark being on those mediums as well. Still not getting a move done, even just on pure pace or even through corners on a softer tyre. We might see something though going in towards turn 14, so let's have a look. Of course, no DRS activated as of yet. It will be enabled on the next lap. Car Mentalist, though, he's hounding the back of Rudy at the moment and cannot just find a way past him. It's allowing Miami to sort of get a bit closer and a bit more comfortable where he is at the moment, because Rudy, look at that now, he's starting to lose a bit of time to Miami up, behind him. So Rudy really needs to just keep an eye out on, mainly behind him, but also trying to keep touch with Miami if he doesn't want to risk a losing place. The Car Mentalist, massive bit of oversteer coming through turn 2, and that's going to allow Peter, no DRS of course being enabled as of yet, but he's going to try and go around the outside and turn 3, sorry. Car Mentalist keeping that inside, just closing the door on the Dutchman. Car Mentalist, even though having that massive moment through turn 2, he's still in touch with Rudy and is still at least managing to hold on to that P5 position.
It's a great little battle this for P3 as it is right now. As much as Car Mentalist wants to overtake, he's got to make sure he doesn't make those mistakes that will give those behind him a chance, because Peter and Raleigh are there to pounce. And I wonder if Caesar's made a little mistake somewhere. He's now, well, he has been for about a lap. He's been outside of DRS range. He had a very heavy moment there through turn 12. The car turned like a boat through the fast apex corner, and he doesn't look too happy, does he, on these hards? He's slipping back from those very second-hand mediums of Tim Matz, and Miami has cut that gap by a few tenths since RJ spun at the restart, as Car Mentalist literally pushing Rudy corner by corner here.
Yeah, massive oversteer moment once again for Car Mentalist at the exit of the final corner. However, Peter not there to capitalise on it, especially with Car Mentalist also having that DRS. Rudy, I think I just started to... I thought I saw the little ERS light come on, but obviously I must have been mistaken. He's still about 30% ERS to his name. Peter at the moment, I think at this train, in fact Miami, the one at the front of this train, on still 90% of ERS. So he's really preserving, and in doing so, he's catching up to Caesar, which... Miami, he's got a massive advantage of this now, because if he does manage to catch up to Caesar, realistically, he can still... he's probably just got to hope that Caesar picks up a pen as well if he can't get in that grass, because the gap at the moment is sort of just holding it around 1.7, 1.8. As I think he just needs to maybe use a bit of his ERS to get a bit of a catch up on, but at the same time he's also utilising it to make sure that he can defend from everybody else. What did you just see?
You just mentioned about Caesar getting a pen. He had a massive corner cut at turn 12, drove straight across the curb, so if he's still not on a pen, but that is his second warning he's just got, and Damon has retired. Are we going to have another safety car? I hope not. We've got a VSC, Tim Matz, yes. Well, he's still going to plummet to last place, almost, but at least he gets a cheap stop here. I was about to say, actually, that the field spread was not enough for him. His lead over Tin Can was only about 12-13 seconds. It's half of what he needs to make an effective stop, but he's going to have fresh tyres, so he will have an advantage, but he's got to get points. He's got to get through 4 cars just for 1 World Championship point, so he really needed to pit under that first SC, I feel, as RJ comes in again.
I think I need to stop picking people. I said RJ at the beginning, and well, he's now down in 17th position, so very unfortunate for him. Car Mentalist and Rudy though goes side by side at the end of sector 1, going in towards turn 7 and turn 8 now. Car Mentalist holding that inside line in towards turn 9. Let's have a look though. Rudy trying to hold it around the outside, and I think Car Mentalist might have gotten that move done. No, Rudy's still holding it there, going a little bit side by side. Car Mentalist trying his best to try and shut that door and make sure he gets that move stuck. It looks as if he has, and now Peter's trying to go around the outside of turn 10 on Rudy. Rudy might have to just let this one go. He certainly has. Rudy now down in 5th position. 2 cars now separating himself and Miami. And Car Mentalist, his next victim is now, of course, Miami. Although Caesar, he started to build that gap once again from Miami. So I wonder if Caesar was just getting away from that dirty air from Tim Mats to just make sure that he can then push on. As Tim Mats just talking about him, he gets a 3-second time penalty to his name.
Rudy fought that one far too hard. He should have let that go, because the way he upset his momentum coming out of turn 10 to try and fight Car Mentalist, he compromised himself by sticking around the outside and then put himself up against the grass. Car Mentalist goes very deep into turn 1. Yeah, that upset the rhythm of the car, and it gave Peter the slingshot he needed just to glide past him around the outside. Rudy should have let that one go. He could have held on to 4th place and then ended up throwing it away. And with these guys on mediums now, he's going to struggle to catch back up to them.
Certainly has a little bit of a move going down further on in the field. Chill's just gotten past Luke, despite Chill having that wing damage at the beginning. As I think K-Mark's actually just gone into the back of Luke going through turn 6, and now has himself that wing damage. Luke, of course, also, I think he went into the back of the McLaren, so K-Mark now up into 13th position, but has that wing damage, so we're going to start to see him dropping back. I don't know if Luke's got himself any wing damage to his name. I think he does on the front right from the looks of things. So it's probably why how K-Mark ended up going in the back of him. Yeah, front right end plate damage, of course, for the McLaren as well.
They're going to struggle. We've seen a lot of guys here who are out of this race effectively without a safety car. K-Mark and Luke, well, Tin Can best hope they come in for a pit stop, otherwise he's going to be losing seconds here, stuck behind them. You can see he's just how much he gains, and he sends it into the penultimate corner. Luke wisely getting out of the way, and they're both coming into the pits, so we've got a few guys here who need another safety car to get themselves back in this race. Miami, though, taking the gap to Caesar up top he's trimmed it by a couple of tenths, and actually Car Mentalist down the outside into turn 3. Miami just closed the door, but that Red Bull is looking very racy today, isn't it? And Peter as well behind them.
Oh, you say that, though, Car Mentalist!
Yes.
Held
Too
that
racy,
one.
as it were.
Yeah, he held that one. Literally, as you were just talking about him looking a bit racy. Yeah, as you said, a bit too racy. Luckily, he held that one and didn't. Well, that must have been a code brown moment for Car Mentalist. He's now down into P4. Peter now well, that was an easy move for Peter. I'm sure he was very happy that that's happened. So Peter's now into 3rd position. He's got Miami just in front of him. Both have similar ERS as well to each other. So as Car Mentalist picking himself up a 3-second penalty. Yeah, so 3-second penalty for Car Mentalist. So unfortunately for him now, that's going to give him a disadvantage, especially in this little group. Caesar's still being allowed to run away, with Miami having to defend a little bit from both Car Mentalist and now Peter. Realistically, I know we said we shouldn't. We said this last week. We shouldn't call it on lap 13, but at this moment, this is Caesar's race to lose.
Absolutely, and Peter as well will be licking his lips. I said earlier on, what a great race he's having. Is he going to try it onto Miami to turn 1? No, he's going to wait for turn 3. But yeah, I said earlier, what a great race start he's having on the hards, and he gets a penalty. I shouldn't have said anything, but he picks up 2 positions in the last 2 laps from Car Mentalist and Rudy just by keeping it on the track. Just by minding his own business, he's picked up 2 positions and very nearly a 3rd from Miami. Maybe he saw Car Mentalist get a penalty and slackened up a little bit. As he's giving Caesar more impetus to run away as well. He's gained a few tenths. The last lap is now 2.5. And someone we've not mentioned for a while, the other person on those mediums, on the SC, Old School, not really doing too much. And Brie as well, who I thought would be all over Sofian like a rash, but the AlphaTauri driver looks quite comfortable there.
Yeah, he's just holding on to DRS from Rally at the moment, and literally he's just on the borderline of it. So I think that's only the only reason why Brie hasn't managed to find his way through as of yet. However, Sofian has got a penalty to his name. Chill picking up his first penalty as well, and of course excuse me, as I said, Peter and Car Mentalist up in front, of course, also have penalties. So realistically, we've still got this long train that's going on from 2nd position down to 10th, with Edok being at the back of that one. Mark just looking a bit, again, there's another one that's looking a little bit racy behind Bree. I think, again, it's a bit of a throwback to what happened last week. He just wants to get the move done, but he's trying to play his time, and I feel like he might be playing his time a little bit too much.
Deep for Peter went very deep into turn 1. Sorry to cut across you there. It didn't cost him anything. Carmentless was too far back, but I think we're seeing a few drivers here that are just getting a bit flustered. They're trying too hard to make these positions, and either because they're in a title fight like Rudy was with Carmentalist, or they know they're on quicker tyres like Peter there, and Carmentalist making that little mistake. We're just seeing some scruffy driving, not in terms of cleanliness. The driving standards have been tremendous, I'd say. I've not seen any dirty overtakes, but just in the general how tidy these cars are going around the track, there's a lot of scruffy errors happening.
Yeah, as you said,
Peter's sorry.
Oh, go on.
Just say he's got a huge run on Miami,
Ooh.
and Caesar does get that penalty.
So now it's up to Miami.
Does that change things for Miami? Yeah, the 3 around him have no penalties. How does that change his approach?
So Miami really needs to just try and keep it as clean as he possibly can on the track, and if he does, well, then that's the 2nd win in a row, shall I say, for Miami. Could be our 2nd well, the person that takes 2 race wins so far in this season. Only Division 2 and the PC side, as well as Division 3, have all had different race winners in their divisions. But let's have a look though. Peter, he's closing up to Miami. He's now definitely going to go for it in towards turn 1. Miami trying to hold it around the outside. A little bit of contact between himself and Peter. Peter though giving him the squeeze, getting the move done on Miami, and now that's going to allow Car Mentalist to go down the inside of the Racing Point as well. And I think the best thing for Miami is just to keep behind them. Just keep behind the 2 medium runners, and just keep up with them, but keep behind them, because they're going to be the ones that are going to catch up to Caesar.
He's got to hope they catch up to Caesar if their tyres don't die first. He's 3.9 off the lead. That's by no means lost him the race win, that little that overtake, but yeah, he needs Peter and Car Mentalist to get on with it. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so Miami a little bit of a disadvantage now. Of course, he's got Rudy just behind him. Rudy is another one that we also need to keep our eye out on, because, well, he hasn't got a penalty to his name as of yet either. So it's really the case of between Miami and Rudy for, I would say, this race win, but at the same time, it's not necessarily for this race win at the moment, just depending, of course, on the timings that these guys are on. Miami already almost losing DRS to those guys on the medium tyres, but you can see how much that gap is coming down between themselves and Caesar. So really, Miami, as I said, all he's got to do is stick behind these medium runners, and at the moment, he's doing a job of sticking behind them, and he's managing to keep up with them. The gap now is about 3.4 when it was 3.9 at the beginning of the lap.
He's not keeping with them too closely though. It's 8/10 between him and Car Mentalist. He's not exactly sticking over his gearbox, and Peter and Car Mentalist are really reeling in the season now, aren't they? 8/10 since they got past Miami. That's Caesar hasn't looked too comfortable since that safety car. I think he looked very happy on the softs. Since it's gone on to hards, his pace has kind of yo-yoed a bit. He broke away at the start, and I think without Tim Matz and RJ to cushion him, so to speak, that safety car restart, I think he would be in trouble here from those behind him. He looks the slowest right now anyway of the top 4, and you can add Rudy and Raleigh to that, who's staying very nicely with that lead group. And we have a DRS train actually just looking from 2nd down to 10th.
Although saying that, look how close down Miami. Did he get DRS? No, he did not. So that's now DRS broken. Miami now out of DRS. He's still 3.3 behind Caesar though, so at least he's still remaining at around that gap. If Caesar makes a bit of a slight mistake and Miami doesn't, then really that's then for Miami's for the taking. But now that he's out of DRS, of course, to the 2 medium guys, that's now going to allow the likes of Rudy, the likes of Raleigh as well, one that we haven't really touched on too much in this race. It's going to allow those guys to, well, boost their way through the pack.
I was just looking downfield. We've got a very weirdly close battle for P16 or P15, sorry, between K-Mark, Luke, and RJ. They're all by themselves on the other side of the track. And we've got another one between Tim Matz, Tin Can, Cam K, and Chill. very interesting. But Peter now under 2 seconds behind Caesar, and he's keeping Car Mentalist a fair distance from him as well, even if it is in DRS. Miami, Rudy doesn't look like he's challenging too much either. Same goes for Raleigh on Rudy. Sofian on Raleigh, who is so close every single lap to dropping out of DRS, but annoyingly for Bree's sake, stays just in it. Bree, oh, big moment for Bree. Bree's round out of turn 10. And the Maltese, well, that will do his championship chances no end of damage.
No, that is not good at all for Bree.
Tim Matz had a spin as well, the exact same corner.
Very unfortunate for the both of them. Tim Matz, of course, was in this battle again. Like you said, he had to make a few moves. He was looking at a move on Tin Can previously. Now, well, that's of course now null and void. With Tim Matz having that spin. Bree as well is trying to keep up to the back of Sofian. And, well, again, unfortunately for him, what just happened with Sofian having that spin is now he's now down at the back of that other group. He's basically just taken Tim Matz's spot. He's now in the battle against Tin Can, Cam K and Chill. Cam K, no penalty. Bree, of course, no penalty as well as K-Mark and Luke having a bit of their battle, a bit of a ding-dong going through turn
Luke's
14.
round.
And yeah.
Luke's round and RJ collects him.
Very unfortunate for those guys at the back end of the grid. I'm going back on board though with these guys at the front though. Rudy still keeping up to the back of Miami, and Car Mentalist, he's lost touch with Peter. So Car Mentalist, I think his tyres are starting to die off now. Because look at that, he's now got that second gap between himself and Peter. We might start to see Miami closing ever so slightly to the back of the Red Bull. Although I was saying that, I think Car Mentalist might, has gotten himself DRS. In fact, no, he has not.
Came on my screen saying he has, but it's not opened on the rear wing. Very, very peculiar. But yeah, I think we're possibly at the crossover point where these mediums are now becoming slower than the hards. Even Peter is edging towards Caesar, but it's 0.2 one way, 0.1 the other, and he's not making. He needs to be in DRS to have a chance because he's going to start falling back soon. DRS can nullify that to an extent, but without it, I think we're a lap or two away from seeing these mediums slip away.
Certainly are.
These guys.
Certainly are. So, also, I'm still just managing or trying to look at this gap between Caesar and Miami. Of course, the front three only with just one penalty to their name each, but Miami's also still trying to keep tabs with them. In fact, he's starting to gain up to the back of Car Mentalist ever so slightly. So, realistically, I think these mediums are starting to die out. In the next probably 3 to 4 laps, I think we might see Miami just sort of glide past both of the medium runners. But it's just a case of if he does get past those medium runners, if he's going to be able to get in that 3-second window of Caesar without picking himself up a penalty. I don't know how many warnings Miami's on, but at the moment it looks like he's keeping it relatively clean.
I think I'm going to stick with what you said earlier. I think this is Caesar's race, and I think Miami has got second under control as well. The gap between them is not oscillating too much, and Rudy as well he's right within the window for second place. The gap between him and Peter is just under 3 seconds. So I think we're seeing what right now is Caesar, Miami, Rudy podium. I think that'll be Rudy's 4th podium in a row, which is testament to his consistency. But of course, all of these guys have to not pick up pens again between now and the end of the race.
Yeah, no, certainly won't. And to actually tell her that, it will be his 4th podium of the season, just not in a row. Last week at China, it says here he actually finished in P9.
Ah, yes, you're right. China had such a topsy-turvy last few laps, didn't it?
Yeah, I do remember that as well, with I think Miami getting through and then Mark getting into second. Caesar in the end ended up picking up 3rd position. He had the 3rd step last week, and I'm sure he's tired of seeing the 3rd step of the podium, or even the 2nd step from last season, and he is gunning for that top step this time out. Peter now 1.2 seconds. However, as I think Caesar's made a massive mistake coming through turn 13. In fact, there are yellows and there's a virtual safety car. Tin Can at the exit of turn 10. He's done exactly what Bree's done, but this time it's actually the car's out.
we've seen so many mistakes with cars dropping out, lighting up the rear wheels, particularly through 12, running wide, and there, especially out of turn 10 as well. You mentioned Caesar made a mistake. I just saw on the Delta, Miami was 3.2, had cut that gap to by the time the safety car came out, and if he has a good VSC, it's sad that the VSC is kind of a skill-based thing, but if he has a good VSC, he could maybe cut that by another couple of tenths as well. So I retract what I said. It's not a Caesar Miami Rudy podium. Both Miami and Rudy are very much in this, as Kmark gets a penalty for speeding a drive-through.
But look at the gap now. Miami, he's lost quite a bit of time to Car Mentalist from that drive, from the virtual safety car. Rudy only now 4 tenths behind the Racing Point, so we could be seeing a bit of a change going on between these two. Rudy, I think he is eyeing up his chances of, if it's not first, then at least a second position for the end of round 7. But of course, we now only got 5 laps left to go. Caesar has been leading this one since lap 1. Well, of course, other than when the safety car, of course, had come out. But Peter now has that DRS to Caesar. So we could very well be seeing Peter and Caesar have a bit of a tussle. If that is the case, Miami, again, is still not out of it. Miami and Rudy and Raleigh as well. All 3 of those guys are not out of it. If these top 3 guys have their bit of a tussle in these final couple laps.
I really hope so. I want to see this Peter Car Mentalist Caesar tussle. Peter does, he's out of it at the moment, but he does keep DRS. He was in it at the detection point. Those mediums are wilting. They look like they're wilting. The AlphaTauri really struggling to turn into some of the corners and picking up traction as well. Miami's cut another 10th out of Caesar's lead since the safety car or VSC went in.
It's number 3.4.
It's not enough right now.
In fact, yeah, let's have a look. So the gap to the leader between them, yeah, it's 3.47. So Miami, really, he's just trying to get there. As in fact, Raleigh's gotten past Rudy.
I think Rudy must have made a similar mistake to what we saw Car Mentalist do earlier in the race through turn 5.
He's got half a front wing, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's done, it looks like. Our championship leader in the mud here in Melbourne.
And I think we might be seeing a bit of a battle going on here for P8. Edoc, I've just seen almost slam into the wall coming out of turn 10. I don't know if he actually hit the wall or what. It doesn't look as if he's got any damage, but the Finn, we haven't seen too much of him so far this season. Look how much ERS he's got in comparison to Mark, and those tyres are going to be dropping off as Sophie and now also getting past Rudy. Yeah, these tyres for him are now starting to drop off. Miami, 3.2 seconds, is now separating himself and Caesar. And now there you go, Rudy dropping down from Mark and from Edoc. Rudy, I'm assuming we're going to see him come into the pits. No, in fact, he stays out. As Chill with another 3-second time penalty.
I think at this point Rudy's just got to try and get a point or two. He'll see now on his Delta he's got 8 seconds to chill.
Ooh. Mark, he's just actually gone off at the exit of turn, the entrance to turn 2. He's got a puncture on the rear right. I think that's a puncture.
I think you're right. I said these guys were going big or going home when they came in for softs. He's having a look. I know it's not a puncture, sorry, but he gets 4. That's very strange. I'd like to see what happened there. And Edoc's now very interested as well into turn 7. Nothing doing, but he'll send it, I imagine, into the little chicane of 9 and 10. Peter still not making much of an impression on Caesar's lead. Car Mentalist though very close to Peter, sorry. And Edoc all over the back of Rudy. Is he going to go for it? He is going to go for it round the outside of turn 11. Brave man to send it there, but Rudy has nothing to defend with on his front wing, but it nearly cost Edoc. I think it probably did cost him a warning on the exit.
Interestingly enough as well, Mark's just picked himself up a 3-second time penalty, and another interesting thing is now dead on 3 seconds between Miami and Caesar, so this gap really has, in fact, sorry, it's actually 3.3. Well, I don't know why I thought it was dead on, but it looks as if it should be. No? I'm looking at that. 3.1,
3.2 on my screen, but I think this could go down to the very last corner, and Car Mentalist and Peter moves very late to defend that into turn 3. I don't think Car Mentalist will be too happy about that. He's got every right to complain. We've got another yellow flag.
That's Rudy again, isn't it?
Oh no, sorry, it's Luke
it's Luke
getting lapped.
I see. I thought it was Rudy again.
I think Peter and Carl Mentelis have given up on fighting Caesar, and they're now just battling it out with each other for what will be 4th place, I think.
It would be sort of around that, yeah. The only advantageous thing that is happening for Miami, and that he hopes that these two keep on battling, is that if they do, they give him DRS. Peter's just completely cut turn 11 and gone very wide at the exit of turn 12, so I'm assuming that's another 2 warnings for him that he's just picked up. But if these two continue to battle as much as they are at the moment, as Carl Mentelis almost going into the back of Peter, it's going to give Miami DRS, and he's back in DRS range of Carl Mentelis, so he's going to at least have a bit of an advantage on the straight lines. This is when he's going to end up catching up on this final lap. It is literally going to come down to this final corner here, Jake, and even up towards the line. Rudy and Chill having a little bit of a battle there for P9, but here we go. We're now on the final lap. Carl Mentelis, look how much he's catching up to the back of Peter, both with very, very low ERS. And look how slow that they're taking that final, or taking turn 2.
It was a poor turn 1 for Miami though, 3.3. He didn't make the gain on the DRS that he needed to. He gained a 10th back down the 2nd straight, but he needs to be throwing this into every corner if he wants to win. But he's also got to hope that the 2 in front of him don't slow him down. He's going to be struggling in dirty air now, as Peter does exactly what Carl Mentelis did a while ago. He runs wide out of turn 5, and he picks up a penalty in the process, and Miami will be begging these two, don't fight, keep me in your DRS, but I don't need you slowing me down, as Carl Mentelis looks around the outside of turn 9.
He's going for it on Peter. He's got to go for it on Peter now, surely. Here we go, Miami down the inside of Peter in towards turn 10. Gets that move done. It's now him and Carl Mentelis. He's going to have the DRS. Carl Mentelis won't. This is where Miami's going to need to get the move done. Carl Mentelis a little bit of a jittery out of turn 12. Here we go. DRS overtake on for Miami, trying to go down the inside of Carl Mentelis. He's gotten the move done. He's now just got 2 more corners to go. Caesar has kept it absolutely pucker all race and has kept it to where he needs to be. He's just got 1 more corner to go, and the Indian looks like he will take his first race win of the season. Caesar around the final corner and wins around Australia. Unfortunately for Miami, was 2/10 off. Raleigh in the end does end up taking P3, jumps ahead of Carl Mentelis and jumps ahead of Peter. Sofian coming home and finishing in P6, Mark in 7th, Eduk in 8th, Chill in 9th. However, that's going to change because of Cam K with no penalties to his name. Luke picks up the fastest lap of the race. Cam K does end up finishing 9th, and Rudy with that wing damage ends up finishing in P10, and that is a massive help for not only Old School, but also for Miami, because I believe now Mark jumps up ahead of Rudy, and I actually believe that Miami jumps up ahead of the both of them.
I think you're right. I think Miami is our new championship leader, and Caesar will have thrown himself into that battle as well. I have no idea exactly where he'll be, but I'll do a quick bit of mental maths if you want to run us through the results when they pop up.
Certainly will, but Caesar, as I said, we didn't touch on him too much throughout that race, just absolutely led that almost from start to finish. As I said, of course, other than that safety car where it was just Tim Mats leading it, he was the one that was controlling the race almost the entire time. I think Caesar, in my opinion, fully deserved for him. I think also maybe deserves the driver of the day, especially for how he was just controlling the pace throughout the entirety of that race. Of course, commiserations to Miami, 0.2 of a second. He needed 1 more lap, I reckon, and that would have been for him to finish in that top spot. But that's now 7 for 7 on race winners, shall I say. 7 different races, 7 different race winners. Caesar, 1 coming out on top, with Miami in 2nd. Raleigh keeping it clean once again and finishes on the podium. That's a 3rd place now for Raleigh, and that's also going to jump his hopes up in the championship a bit more as well. In 4th was Carl Mentelis, of course, also keeping his championship hopes alive. Peter in 5th, with Sofian in 6th. Old School in 7th, Eduk in 8th, Cam K 9th, Rudy rounding out the top 10, Chill in 11th, Bree in the end picks up the final points position in 12th, RJ in 13th, with Tim Mats in 14th, K Mark in 15th, and Luke the final actual position coming across the line. He did end up picking the fastest lap with a 21.1 to his name, and then of course our DNFers of Tin Can, Damon, Trench and Barton at the very beginning of the race. Very unfortunate for all of those guys, but I suppose that is the way it goes, especially around this track in Australia.
Yeah, some of those guys like Bree very unlucky. There was a scruffy race. We saw, as I said, a few mistakes out there today, particularly out of turn 10 and through turn 12. A lot of running wide, a lot of just getting the power down too early. We saw some oversteering, some squirming, and it was a clean race, but yeah, as I said earlier, a little bit of difficult driving as IFR race. Ace joins us right at the end. But I mentioned I would give you the D3 title race as plus or minus a few points because I was very quick. But Miami does lead with 80 points. Old School on 76. Rudy drops to third on 74. Raleigh has 68. Carmentelis has 66. So our top five are split by 14 points going into round 8. Bree on 61, unfortunate for him today. And Caesar, 57 now. He is right in there, 23 points off the lead. And that's 7 guys within a race win, and we're only 1 race short of halfway. That we're still that close is staggering, frankly.
Yeah, no, of course. So Miami's now going to be our current championship leader. Very, very close at the top between all of those guys. Of course, Bree, I think, is probably the one that's lost out the most throughout all of that. He now drops down into what position was that? Sorry, in like 7th position now in the championship, or 6th?
6th, yes.
Yeah, so
6th.
Unfortunate for the Maltese man. Of course, he's probably going to look to try and bounce back for next week. He still does manage to keep at least the fact he has. In fact, no, he hasn't scored in every single race. Sorry, I thought he was. It's actually Carmentelis that scored in every single race so far this season. So Carmentelis, I think, is the only other one with Rudy who has managed to score in every single race so far this season. In fact, as well as Tinkan, although I think he ended up finishing. Well, no, he DNF'd. So yeah, it is really.
Yeah, he broke
Rudy.
his streak today.
Yeah, so it is just Rudy and Carmentelis, the only two that have gotten all point scores so far in their races. Wait and see if they are going to also carry it on throughout the final phases. I should say throughout the second part of this season. Jake, have you got anything left to say for the stream for tonight?
Just to speak to the closeness of Division 3, you could finish 4th every race so far and you would be leading the championship without ever setting foot on the podium. That is how close it is. And today it was another example of that. It was a topsy-turvy race, but Caesar was outstanding throughout. And he played it to perfection. That he controlled the race. Took it by the scruff of the neck. He never really let anyone get too close to him. Even Miami, even if he got within a tenth or two, Caesar raked that back. And yeah, it was nice to have another clean race. And unfortunate for those guys that made those mistakes. But hopefully, as always, more of the same next week, please.
Yeah, no, hopefully we will be seeing that one. But as I said at the beginning of the stream, we are going to be playing the Murray Walker tribute, just of course to round out the stream. So thank you to everybody that has tuned in for tonight. Make sure to stay safe as well throughout the whole COVID situation. And of course we will also catch you guys next week for round 8 around the Paul Ricard circuit. Thank you very much for tuning in.
On a high note and be euphoric about the fact that we've just seen a great race. We've seen a great race in a great country, and hopefully it will have done something to lift the spirits of America. It certainly lifted mine. It certainly lifted the spirits of Formula One. And Martin, as ever, it was a joy to be working with you.
Thank you, Murray.
So that's it then, folks. That's the last from me. All I can say is that it always has been a pleasure, and I hope you will enjoy Grand Prix racing from now on. Goodbye.
You're the top. You're a new invention. You're the top.
Well, hello and welcome to the Frozen South.
Dimension.
You're the green and gold and the mauve of the old school tie. You're the Brothers Western, you're Harry Preston, you're custard pie.
Go, go, go! Lovely start by Schumacher.
You've got an enormous bump on your head. Can you let them see it?
I don't know there. There you go.
Right up there. Oh, I'm sorry.
Where there's not a gangster.
I'm a frog without a log on which to hop. Oh, baby,
I